My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins from Your Black World and the Black Business School, and I'm going to say good morning to you guys and happy Monday. Today is Monday, August 10th, and I want to welcome you to the Black Financial Channel. So I thought that I would start the day by, first of all, letting you guys know that the stock market appears to have jumped a little bit more today. Let me check to see what the numbers are for the market right now. I think they were pretty positive. The futures market was looking good. Okay, it looks like the Dow Jones is up about 0.5%. The S&P is up 0.22%. So again, this looks like another good week for stocks. I don't see any reason why we'd have anything to be afraid of. But one thing I wanted to talk about that I thought was really interesting and fascinating is beyond the scratch that. The first thing I mentioned this morning was in Chicago. Chicago's, kind of going crazy today. You should look that up. There's a lot of looting happening in Chicago. They're starting to go downtown and, bust windows and steal things and stuff like that. And they had to shut down the entire downtown Chicago. And these were the people that they put on the camera that were going in the stores and taking stuff. They did look like us. But that doesn't mean that we were the only ones doing it. But I don't know what was going on exactly why, but I know there was some shooting. Chicago's kind of chaotic, right now. And but Chicago's always been a little bit chaotic. So it's definitely a messy situation. And so that's one thing that's interesting. I'm gonna keep following up on that, and I'll give you some updates on that. I personally believe, hey Antonio, how you doing? I personally believe that there is a, these are chickens coming home to roost. I think that this is what happens when you shut down the economy because you want to keep people safe. But you say, in order for me to keep you safe, I'm going to starve you and give you no options. A lot of the elites, the individuals who are making these laws, they're not losing their paychecks. A lot of the people that are telling people to stay home and shutting down businesses so they can't get their jobs. These politicians are doing good. They've got $1 million in the bank. And so they're telling poor people, well, there's no business, there's no jobs. Because there's a 0.5% chance, 0.5% chance that something bad can happen to you. Actually, it's less than 0.5%. I think they said 1 in every 3,000 people or 1 in every 2,500 people or something is dying from the virus. So because you only have a 99.9% chance of surviving today, we need you to stay in the house, and we're going to take your job away. So now people are getting mad. People are down. I mean, they were in Chicago busing, like shooting at the cops. Like it was really kind of a mess. Like people shooting at the cops, busting out windows, and they weren't doing it. And, you can't go back to that whole old argument of, well, you're tearing down your own neighborhood. You're tearing down your own community. No, these people left their community. They went to the north side where the rich people live. They went to downtown on the Magnificent Mile where Oprah has an apartment, places like that. And that's where they went to go loot. And so it's gonna be interesting. I personally think they need to process that. What's a stock pick for the week? I'm gonna do some more today on for my students. I haven't even had a chance to look through my analyst report and stuff like that. We do have a program, What Dr. Boyce is Buying. So it's in the Black Business School. So if you go to theblackbusinessschool.com and talk to one of the specialists, they can show you where that is. So I actually do let my students know what I'm going to, buy and stuff like that. And if you are one of the students, if you were in the Black Stock Market Weekend, I want to say hello. We had a great time. There were hundreds and hundreds of people that showed up. And we did our survey. 97% of the students said they would recommend it to a friend. 97% felt it was well worth the investment. So you may want to go take a look. Just give it a try. Feel free to stop by the Black Business School, theblackbusinessschool.com. I think you'll like it. Hit the thumbs up button. If you haven't hit the thumbs up button, please do that. Hey, Dreamcatcher, shout out the city that you're from too. Shout out the city that you're in. All right. So here's what one other thing that was interesting to me. I saw that today the former CEO of McDonald's, a guy named Easterbrook, he left his job and they replaced him a few months ago, and they went to him and they basically sued him after they let him go because they found out that he dated a woman that he worked with. And I thought that was really interesting. I wanted to get your take on this. I'm really curious about what your thoughts are, because I just think that's really interesting that that workplace relationships are now seen almost like some type of sexual assault. And I wonder how realistic that is, given that if you go back 30, 40 years, a lot of people dated in the workplace, men and women. And you think about it, if you spend more time at work than you spend anywhere else, and you're spending so much time with these people, love connections are going to happen. Like, I don't believe you can stop the process of love and attraction, no matter how hard you try. I believe it's as strong as the universe. That's why we're all here. We're all here because somebody became attracted to another person, and and they ended up, forming a relationship and making a child. So I just wonder what you guys think about that, in terms of whether or not it's even realistic to say that if you have a relationship with someone in the workplace, you should be fired. And what's really interesting to me is they don't really tend to go after both parties. They go after the men. Typically, it's usually the men, or they'll go after what they claim to be the most powerful person. And a lot of women are attracted to powerful men. And I can just, honestly confess that this is something that I've seen up close, where I would go places and do stuff, and women would approach you from every direction. And I don't, and it's never anything bad. It's not like anybody's taking anything from anybody. And some men can just say no, sure. But what if you don't say no? What if you're single and you meet a nice lady and she likes you and she lets you know that she likes you, and you decide to form a relationship because you have something in common, you both work together, you just happen to have a job that's a little bit higher on the totem pole than hers. Does that make it into something that is terrible and abusive? And I don't know if it does. I mean, now I guess what some might argue is that you have to at least report it to HR, which I agree with that. I think it's fine. Let them know what you're doing. But I think that to some extent that also, puts human sexuality in a box. There's a lot of people that just, they have relationships. They have things they don't want other people knowing about. They don't want their business all over the office, and it's not as if it's just the men that are pursuing the women. A lot of women will pursue men. I don't know if you've seen this before, but I mean, think about it. Just this weekend, we spent the whole weekend talking about this Cardi B hip hop song, where basically all they're doing is advertising sex. The whole chorus of the song was, "There's some hoes in this house." So during this whole song, all they're talking about is all the sexual things they want to do with men. So anybody who has this illusion that men are these hungry predators who are looking for their next victim, their next meal, and the women are just sitting there and prim and proper, just hoping that no man ever hits on them, I think that's unrealistic. I think some women like when men are attracted to them, and they like when men respectfully express their interest in dating her, even if she's not interested. It's flattering, right? So I kind of think it's I'll tell you what, I think this is a good reason. If you have a son, this is something you want to warn your son about, because if he's some young, handsome black man and he goes into the workplace, Becky's going to be chasing him down. It'll be black women maybe chasing him down. And being a young man that has a lot of energy, he's going to maybe be interested in that. And it's unfortunate. It's not as simple, I think, sometimes, as just saying, don't date anybody in the workplace. Don't do it. If you're spending 80 hours a week in the workplace and all your free time is at work, then I just believe it's going to happen at some point. But I can say that there are other perspectives. When I first started teaching at Syracuse University, my father told me, don't date anybody that you work with. And I listened, and I didn't. And here's the thing, though. There were some smart black women I met who were professors who I know for a fact they were interested in me. And I think those could have been good relationships. But because I had just been, almost traumatized into being so afraid as a black man that something bad would happen to me if I even talked to that woman, I said nothing to these women. And I don't think that would make them happy. I don't know, ladies, you can tell me if there's a decent man that has interest in you, and you're waiting for him to say something and he doesn't say anything because he's afraid that people are going to view him as a predator. Does that make you happy? Does that make you happy that you go home by yourself? He's going home by himself, when really maybe the two of y'all would have made a great couple. And I ended up, choosing a professor to marry. I chose a black female professor to marry. She just happened to teach at another school. Alicia's a professor. I like smart black women. That's my little thing. So anyway, so beyond that, I think that those are a couple things that were on my mind. As far as stocks, what the stock market is going to do this week, obviously a lot of it comes down to the stimulus package. So right now they're negotiating that. Trump did his executive order. Of course, the Democrats are mad. They're going to be mad about whatever he does. The Republicans are going to be mad about whatever the Democrats do. That's kind of how politics is. And so they're back at the negotiating table. I think that this week they're going to come up with something. They're going to come back with something different from what they have right now. I don't think the executive order is going to solve the problem. I think it was a negotiating tactic. I think that he is a negotiator. He's a hard negotiator. If you read the history of Donald Trump, and I've been following Trump for 30 years, actually since the early 90s, and Trump is a guy that, he pushes hard in negotiations. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. He's not stupid. But he's not brilliant. But he's not as dumb as the media makes it out to be. You don't have he's had a jumbo jet for like 40 years, 35 years. Most of the people that say he's stupid, they could, if I told them, okay, figure out how to get enough money to get a jumbo jet, they wouldn't know how to do it. And they would say, oh, well, it's because his daddy gave him the money. No, his daddy didn't give him that jet. His daddy did set him up the way you should set your children up, but he got a lot of his wealth because he's a crafty businessman. Maybe he's not always an ethical businessman, but he ain't stupid, So I'll just tell you that's my perception of it all. And I just, one thing I hate about politics is I feel like politics makes us all so stupid. It makes you see everything in black and white, everything really simple-mindedly, and like if you're a Republican, nothing the Democrats do is ever right because Fox News is always going to spin it in a negative way. If you're a Democrat, everything a Republican says is going to be shaped as being racist or whatever. They're just manipulating you because they want you to vote for them. That's what it is. They're like, okay, what do black people get scared of? Oh, black people respond to racism. So we're going to just keep calling them racist and not explain exactly why. We're just going racist. He's racist. That was racist. He did. That's racist. Come on. It's dumb. I'm not stupid enough to participate in that. So for those who are offended by my saying that, I apologize. I just can't make myself dumber to fit in. I'm not interested in doing that. So anyway, I'm going to get out of here, guys. Please have a good day. Do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button and share, subscribe before you go. theblackfinancialchannel.com. That's where I'm broadcasting right now. Now, if you email me, Didi, send an email to producer@flynubianmedia.com. Email producer@flynubianmedia.com. I don't really do a lot of interviews on my podcast, and I don't do a lot of interviews on other people's podcasts. So I'm going to be honest with you, it's kind of a long shot. I bring Dr. Claude Anderson in. He's the main one I bring in regularly just because he's the GOAT. But outside of that, I'm not an interviewer. I'm not very good at it. And I don't like doing interviews. I don't like traveling. I don't like doing speaking engagements. None of that. I want to stay home, be with my family, and do what I do every day. So that's the honest to God truth. No disrespect. That's just kind of where I'm at. But if you have a podcast and you want to take a clip of my content and you want to put it on your channel, I'm not gonna ever object. Like you'll never get like some copyright notification from me, because I'm mad because you shared my video. Like I want people to get whatever I can offer the world. I want you to take that. I want you to use that, and feel free. So if you want to talk about something and use my clip to accentuate your point, I'm not going to give you a hard time about that. Okay. So that's just, I had to be honest with you about that. Interviews are like, oh God, another interview. It's so I did one with one lady, and this lady she told me it would be like 15 minutes. She had me for like an hour. My woman was mad because we were supposed to go somewhere. I had stuff to do. It was just too much stress. And also when you get to my stage in life, I'm not old, but I'm not young. And when you get to my stage in life, you have things like my blood pressure. I got to manage my blood pressure and stuff like that. And so that's why I avoid a lot of stress. I avoid a lot of stress. I avoid a lot of drama. So I don't like to have a schedule that's got a bunch of stuff just piled up. And I don't like putting up with a bunch of BS. That's why you'll never see me working in corporate America, and you'll never see me really getting too engaged or too involved in things that are toxic or negative. Like toxic people, I don't even cut them off. They don't even know that they're cut off. I just walk away quietly, just disengage. And that's something I can honestly tell you really works. You may want to think about that. Like if you have a dramatic person in your space, don't tell them that you're cutting them off, because that's only going to make them go crazy. That's going to make them get offended and get mad and go nuts. Just cut them off. Just be busy next time they call. So that's just a little tip. I know, and some people may say it's even passive aggressive, but you know what? Maybe sometimes that's the best approach, because you get aggressive with an aggressive person, you're going to be in another one of these stupid fights. And all these stupid fights it distracts us. It keeps us from accomplishing our goals. It keeps you from living your best life. It keeps you from being happy. I want to be happy, man. And so all this toxic stuff going on, these ridiculous, backward thinking, negative, destructive people, I just cut them out. And some of them, and it's funny, some of them, sometimes if you really follow me closely, you'll see some of this in public. I've had people rail and blast me and be so mad at me. People that I would used to work with. And I don't respond much at all, hardly at all. I don't even acknowledge it because I'm not feeding that beast. But they'll be so mad because before I was really cool. But once I see certain things where I'm like, I don't want to put up with that. I'll just slowly back away. And the next thing you know, you used to have all this access to me. Now you have no access to me. You got to protect your space. That's a tip I would just give you guys. Protect your space and treat it as special. Like it's a privilege for them to be around you. You don't owe anything to anybody. If somebody's really, really messing with you and giving you grief and whatever, you have a right to detach. So that's my 2 cents. I'm out of here. But then the flip side, though, if you have somebody that's really loyal and really great in your life and very positive and they put up with your shit, like you got to really show respect to those people. So that's what I do. I have my ride or die quality people in my space. And then I have certain people that I just was like, I got to get away. So anyway, I'm out of here, guys. Hit the thumbs up button, hit the share button, hit the subscribe button. I'll see you guys soon. And I'll chime in a little bit later on the stock market. Talk to you later. Bye-bye. Peace.